Hey everyone, this is Neil Napier here. Let me just close down a couple of these things and we'll be good to go. All right, okay, let me see. Holger says looking forward to another great webinar. And Alvin, just so you know, I know Alvin's on the call as well. I'm just going to take off my headset because I want to get closer to the mic. So let's see. Okay, cool. We've got a good few people joining in already, and I have to say that the numbers are going down. If it continues like this, my motivation to be on these live calls will go down as well. So make sure that you try and attend all these sessions, because it's not only about me showing you stuff and you asking questions, but it's about us interacting today and every day whenever we do one of these sessions. So today we'll be focusing on the funnel builder part of the software. This, I would say, perhaps is the most extensive part, which is why I've broken it down into two. So today's session will talk about building opt-in pages, opt-in funnels, essentially. In the next session, we'll talk about building sales pages of different sorts and everything else for that matter. But right now, our focus is generating leads and making sales with the email follow-up, or simply setting them up with membership sites. Now, we already discussed in the first session about membership sites and the second session about the email part of InstaSuite, and you can already go in and you can watch the replays on the tutorials page. Today we'll focus on the funnel builder part of this software. As always, I don't want to spend too much time on actually demonstrating. I want to do more strategic and content-based session as well. So we'll come to that a little bit later. I'll come to your questions as soon as I can. First, I want to give you a complete run-through, and then I'll circle back to any questions that Alvin hasn't answered today on this call. So keep watching. If you have any questions, pop them in the chat box, and as I mentioned, I'll jump onto them as soon as I'm able. So let's talk about the funnel builder part of InstaSuite. In this case specifically, how to build opt-in pages with this platform. Now, as I mentioned, this part of the platform is perhaps the most significant and also perhaps the most used, because I'm confident here that even if most people won't use any other part of the platform, at least 80% will use the funnel builder, for the simple reason that for anything that we sell or offer online, we need some kind of a funnel. And when I say funnel, let me also say this, that quite often it is simply a loose connection of different pages. How you connect the pages depends entirely on you. It has no semblance on essentially how a typical funnel could be. You could do a free lead magnet, then something to sell, and then give them something for free, and then something to sell again. Or you could give them something to buy, and then a lead magnet, and then another lead magnet. It's entirely up to you. So funnel, loosely speaking, is based on you connecting the dots with different kind of landing pages. It's really no more complicated than that. What InstaSuite does, though, is it allows you to build your funnels any which way you want. As I mentioned, it also helps with some visualization, as I will show you. Now, in future, there's much deeper integration I want to build in with things like Stripe and PayPal. For now, if you want to sell something, you just need to get the buy buttons from these different places. But anyway, let's talk about opt-ins today. And actually, before I even do that, one of the first things I want to show you is integrations, because these integrations matter when it comes to opt-ins. So if I jump into new integration, you'll see the many different forms of integrations accessible within InstaSuite. For the sake of opt-ins, here are the ones that you need to pay special attention to. Autoresponder. So ActiveCampaign, Aweber, Constant Contact, and WordKit, GetResponse, MailChimp, Infusionsoft. Then for the webinar, GoToWebinar, Webinar Jam, EverWebinar, Webinar Geo. And for miscellaneous, well, that's, if you are mailing, so that's more to do with email marketing. But that's it. Perhaps Useline to an extent if you want to use images on your landing pages, and I'll talk about that soon. But here's the thing, and again, I just want to be completely honest with you here. APIs, here's what happens. APIs change all the time. So a company like ActiveCampaign, and we have had this issue today actually, a company like, in this case, ConvertKit recently changed their API. So the connection that we had initially isn't working anymore. So now our developers are working on fixing that. Unfortunately, these are not the things that we can be made aware of in advance. I mean, unless we are tracking all of these 15 different places to see what changes they're doing. And even then, we might miss something because a lot of the API stuff is very technical. So APIs work, they work well because they're easy from our side, from your side. So when you're hooking up a list, let's say, which is an active campaign, it is easy to simply pick a list name and get your campaign going. However, there are workarounds for when APIs are not working. So I know some people might feel that, oh, the API isn't working, the software is bad, I'm not going to use it anymore. Don't think about it like that, because for me, imperfect action is always more important than perfect inaction. So even if you find that the traditional method of using an API isn't working, you can switch back to HTML forms, which I will show you today as well. So again, these are some of the integrations that you need to be aware of. Each of these integrations has different requirements, and there are directions here to show you what you need to fill in, how, and where you can get that information. So again, follow everything here to connect your different mailing accounts. Now, I will also point this out, and I did kind of talk about this last time when we were talking about email marketing, list builder part, that is, that do I need another autoresponder to use with InstaSuite? Here's the thing. If you don't have any autoresponder yet, I would say you don't need one. Because if you don't have an autoresponder yet, you're probably not so far advanced that you need different platforms out there. You can just start with the list builder part here, and I think you'll be sufficiently placed to use it. However, if you in your business have different autoresponders, I would not recommend you basically selling them off as of yet, right? Here's the thing. A lot of different autoresponders, so to speak, autoresponders are released in the JVZoo marketplace as well, but none of them can ever compete with the experience that and the complexity that autoresponders like GetResponse or ActiveCampaign or MailChimp and all of these basically have built in. So when you see a headline which says, you know, fire your autoresponder or something, you know, just quit your autoresponder completely, that's a lie. It's tough to quit something completely, especially if you're using it. Now, our goal with InstaSuite List Builder is to enhance it to a point where we can compete with these platforms. But till we do, I would recommend, if you have a membership with any of these, keep it. Okay? I just don't want to mislead you here. But anyway, let's move forward. Let's talk about what happens after all these different integrations that you do. When you do that, you can start building your funnels for the sake of opt-ins, and we're going to do just that. So let's go in and add a new funnel. We're going to pick opt-in funnel in this case. Even if you don't pick one of these, it's okay. This is really more for your knowledge. So I'm just going to go in, say next. In this case, I'm going to say I want one upsell and one downsell. Now remember, in this session, we won't really create the sales pages, but this will give you a good idea of what a typical funnel would look like. So let's call this live. I call everything live demo funnel. But let's try and sell something in this case. Let's try and sell something related to golf. So you click on build funnel, and it builds a very basic kind of, you know, list of pages. So the way to visualize a funnel, and again, at the moment, this builder is primarily visual. The way to visualize this is add these different blocks in. When you do that, just drag and drop them here. Let me put this here, and let me bring that one here. And this visual builder basically helps you connect the dots. So I'm going to explain this in a second, but let me just connect all the dots. There we go. And there we go. So visually, when you're looking at it, what it tells you is that, move this, that from the squeeze page, when someone opts in, they go to the upsell one page, where maybe you're selling something, or maybe it's a simple thank you page. And then from the upsell one page, if they buy, they go straight to the thank you page. If they don't buy, they go to the downsell page. From there, if they buy or if they don't buy, they go to a thank you page. Or you could also add a different thank you page. So if they don't buy at all, they could go to a different thank you page. It's basically different ways of laying out a funnel. We've made the system flexible enough, so it's entirely up to you how you do that. There's no complication here, so to speak. Now, let me just save this one. Okay. Then let's go in and let's start changing up the names for the squeeze page. So I want to call this, let's say, golf lead magnet. That's fine. Okay, now this is in draft mode at the moment. We haven't published it. In fact, we haven't even picked the template. So let's go in and pick a template. InstaSuite already has quite many built-in templates. We're going to add more moving forward, but right now you can also start from scratch if you so wish. We should really have the scratch option here as well, but for now, let's go ahead and pick one of these templates. Let me think about which one I can use. Well, these ones look quite good. And if you wish to preview, by the way, you can simply click here and preview what that page would look like. So let's open this up and let's see what it looks like. There we go. So it's for fitness. I think it might be okay for what we're going after. It does look a bit different from what I saw here, obviously, and I'll have to check it out why that is. Let's check another one. Okay, that's the same one. Let's try a different one as well. So it's easy for you to basically view all of these quickly and see which one you would like to use. Okay, I think let's go with this one, and we might not stick to Golf at the end of the day, but let's try this one and rework this a little bit. So when you choose that, we loaded the template behind the scenes, and we allow you to change it as much as you want. You could delete the whole thing and start from scratch if so you want, or you can take this as a base and continue working with it. I always recommend working with the base. It's just easier. It's always easier. So let's say in this case we are going for restaurants after all, because I think it's just easy. I can change my URL. I can go in here and it says it's a random squeeze page. Let's edit, and let's say local pizza. Say update URL. It's done. This is a URL which will show up when we publish. Then I can, as with anything, again, this is the funnel builder part of the platform. I can edit these elements, so I can go in and I can say, welcome to, and again, the text is in black, so let's change the color. Welcome to the best pizza joint in New York. Okay, great. So I don't like this text, for example, so let me just actually get rid of it. Great. This is my image that I have. I can click here and I can browse another image, so I can click here, and this is where Usign hookup comes in as well. So if I have Usign integrated, which I don't in this account, I can grab an image from Usign and I can bring this in here. I could also upload my own images from my computer, and there are some marketing graphics that we do provide. Let me see if they load up in this account. Yeah, and you can use one of these as well. So if I just quickly go for this one, double click. There we go. So we've got these additional ones as well, but I'm not going to use them because I'm quite happy with the book that we have right here. We're giving away food recipes. This is the opt-in form. I'll come to this in a second, but I want to first show you different elements available within this. So initially, we have the block element. Block element allows you to basically place a new block anywhere you want. So I could take this, and I can drag and drop it here. So if you think about it, as if you have a book, this is like a new chapter in the book. You can just do whatever you want in that chapter, and you can localize all the settings to this. But anyway, I don't want this right now. Then you also have some preset blocks that you can use. You have the column section. This is actually quite cool because let's say if I want to drag and drop 4 things here. So I can have 4 menu items here right next to each other. I don't need to, try and push something to the right just for the heck of it. I could simply drag and drop it. So for example, if I didn't want these social sharing buttons here, I could drag and drop them here. I can drag and drop them here as well. And when the page loads up, they will load up basically where you see them on the page, in the center or the right or the left. Then we also have the text element. With the text element, as before, you can drag and drop either this. So if I just do this one, there we go. So there's a space for image and then text, but I don't want this, so I'm just going to delete this. And I can also choose to simply drop some text right, say here. Now here's the thing. Drag and drop is always fun. I would very, very strongly recommend to play with this because this is essentially the most fun part of the software, that you get to go in and you get to experiment, you get to see what it does, what it doesn't do, and so on and so forth. So I would strongly recommend that you play with this, you figure out different things, different settings within this that you perhaps didn't know of before. There are other things here as well, so you can just drag and drop a box if you choose to. Let's do that here. So then you can place text on top of it. So, essentially allowing you to do more things from one place. That's the goal here. Then you also have the image part, which I already showed you. I mean, this was the image you were editing, but you can drag and drop this. Same way you have the video. At the moment, we integrate with YouTube and Vimeo. You just have to put the code in, and we can embed them. If not, you can simply use the HTML embed option. You have the buttons as well, so buy now buttons quite often. You have the form as well, which is here. I'll go into this in a second. You have the counter as well, so timer. Maybe you want to limit for how long the opt-in is available. It's up to you. Or you have a counter that can count up or down. So if you want to show like how much money you generated last month, you can go from 0 to $10,000, $11,000 using this counter. You have the social media sharing buttons here. And then you also have the comment section here if you wanted to. It doesn't quite make sense to have one on an opt-in page unless you were allowing people to comment before opting in. And then you have some miscellaneous elements, which I'll cover in another session because it's a bit more advanced. Now, I'll go and see if you have any questions. If not, I'll come back to the demo. Okay. Annette says, I'm watching on iPad and building on laptop with you. Perfect. Holger says, I use WordPress with OptimizePress on mydomain.com. ClickFunnels as a plugin for WordPress, and I saw InstaSuite has a WordPress plugin too. With a CF plugin, you can show CF page on WordPress. So let's say if I want to show a certain opt-in page on mydomain.com, I just need to load the ugly CF URL into the WordPress plugin so that I can display my domain. Too long. Okay, this is very, very long text, Holger. There is a WordPress plugin. I'll cover this in another session if that's okay with you. Okay, or maybe Alvin, if you have it, you can cover that a bit later. Just let me know in chat because I'm not wearing headphones. Okay, so yes, with the WordPress plugin, you can do that for funnel pages. Okay. Stripe do not allow you to create a button like PayPal. Leonardo, no, they don't, unfortunately. As far as I've seen, they don't, and it's a bit more advanced in terms of account creation and everything. Can I do parallax effect? Saeed, good question, not at the moment. I'll talk to the developers though. Actually, I would recommend, and Alvin, if you can drop Saeed link to the feedback portal, that would be really, really cool to have, I think. I don't know how they will develop it, but if you can leave that on the feedback portal, I will then drop you a link. That would be really good to know. Perfect. Leonardo, yeah, it needs to be done by the API, correct. There's no integration with SendPepper Entrepot. Is that planned? Lisa, SendPepper, I haven't even heard of it. Entrepot, we don't have it, but please, as always, drop it in the feedback section of InstaSuite, and depending on the number of votes, we'll consider that. Okay, I work with a restaurant that has its own website. Can I use InstaSuite funnel and squeeze page platform for the restaurant to generate leads? Yes, you can. Alvin will show you basically how to quickly port the pages from, InstaSuite SaaS platform into the WordPress site. So we can show you that a little bit later today. I already have a user and gift sign. Do I need to integrate its API? Yes, you do, Ragini. Char says parallax effect would be cool. Yeah, I think so too. I think it would be cool. Definitely. Okay. Let's push forward. I'm going to show you now how the email opt-in part works, and then we can come back to questions again, and then demo from Alvin, and then focus on more value-driven content today. Okay, so this is your typical opt-in form. Now, I want to show you a few things about the forms specifically because you can do them in many different ways. So if I go into form, for example, you'll see we have one built-in form, we have another. This is like vertical, this is horizontal, I guess. Then you've got this blank form space. And then you've got these different input field places, right? So let me actually start with a blank form. This is actually quite technical now, and I hope that's okay because I do want to show you some cool stuff here. I want to put some background as well, actually, before we do that, because I think the background would be quite nice. There we go. Let's grab that in there. Okay, so let's build our own form in there. Let's say we want to collect more than name and email address. Let's go into forms. Okay, and I can drag and drop stuff. So email, I want more. Name, let's drag it here. Then I want phone number. Then I want address. Let's say hypothetically. I mean, you might not always need all of this. And then you want a custom text field as well, custom paragraph field as well. Now, again, like I said, you might not need all of this. And right now, as of right now, if you try anything more than name and email address, InstaSuite won't be able to collect it. InstaSuite's own autoresponder, right? But if you have different autoresponders out there, it could be, I guess, ActiveCampaign, Infusionsoft, whatever you wanted. What you could do is you can ask people to give you more details. Let me just put a button in here as well so it makes more sense. So you could say to people that, okay, put your name and email address, and then also give me your phone number, and I'll send you something for free. I'll call you, or I'll text you. You can collect the address and say, we'll send you a free ebook, a free book by print, right? You can ask them to put some custom text asking why you want to opt in. And you can then collect all this inside of autoresponders, your own autoresponders. Now, I will say this, what I'm showing you is a little bit too advanced. 99% of you won't need this. For the 1% that do, this is what you need to do. Okay? Let's go into this though. This is the core thing. This is what 99% of you will use, which is you will simply collect the first name and email address, or just the email address. In that case, let's see this. So if I click here, this is just for the name box. You can see what the field label is. You can see what the input type is, the different input types. You can see what the input size is. You can make it small, large, whatever you want. And if I close this now, you can see this is bigger. I think I'll bring it back to normal size. You can have predefined values. So you can say, let's say Neil Napier. I would say don't have a predefined value, but you could anyway. So if I do this, there you go. Predefined value is Neil Napier, but you shouldn't do that anyway. Then same thing with the email form, but the fun starts happening here. So when you, again, this is something, as I told you earlier, you should just play with. So when you just move around your mouse a bit, you'll get here and you'll see form settings. Click on this gear icon, and this is important, so please watch closely. The first thing is a form name. You don't have to set up your own name, but you can leave it to whatever name it is here. But just remember this because it might be useful in future for when you're building this page. So this is form 1. You can change the width as you choose, right? But also remember that the width is limited by the container width as well. So it's a small box and a big box. You can't have the small box being bigger than the big box. So if I go all the way here, it can't go beyond a certain dimension, right? So let me bring this back to here. Then you've got the height as well. Now, the height thing as well doesn't matter. I would actually limit it as much as possible because, you only have 2 fields. You don't need more. The next thing is the style. You can change them to sharp. So, you just notice that they become sharp, like, clearer edges. Then you can also have horizontal, inline, different kinds of forms. It's really up to you how you wish to set things up. So let me go back here, stack. Okay, let's hide the labels. Perfect. Then formatting is where you can put in margins. So you can separate it from the top or the bottom as much as you want. Okay, but here's the most important part now. This section, like, it is very, very crucial. And I would always say this as well. Whenever you set any kind of page on any kind of website, it doesn't matter if it's InstaSuite, ClickFunnels, OptimizePress, lead pages, whatever, always test as much as you can. When we set up our sales pages, for example, we test purchase our own funnel at least 5 times to make sure everything works as well as it should. So let's go through this step by step. The first thing you can do is you can register someone as a member. Now what that means is that, remember, within InstaSuite you already have membership sites that you've created. With this button, you are able to add people to one of these portals automatically. So if I choose, for example, this one, as soon as someone signs up, they will automatically receive a welcome email to this membership as well, which is perfect. So this way you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You can collect an email address and you can also automatically register people for content. So you can say, for example, let's say if your page is about, hey, sign up here and I'll give you my 3-part video series to show you how I cook the best paella, if that's what you were doing. You could automatically set these videos inside a membership. And if you go back and watch the membership module, you'll notice that if you do it in a clever way, you can immediately upsell people to something within that membership. as well, without being pushy, without being salesy. So as much as possible, if you want to deliver content, deliver it like this. Then next thing is the form action. So you have 4 options here. The first option is subscribing people to an email list. So you see all these different connections, active campaign, Aweber, constant contacts. So again, that API based thing. When you load up one of these, you'll see all the different lists that you have. You can pick one, and whenever someone signs up, they will go to this list. Just remember, single and double opt-in, that's entirely up to you. What you can also do, of course, is you can choose InstaSuite's own list builder. So you can choose one of these emails, and then the email address will go in there. Then the second method is registering people to a webinar event. So you can, again, hook up with GoToWebinar, Webinar Jam, EverWebinar, Webinar Geo. I don't think we have hookup here with GoToWebinar, but if you do that, when someone signs up, you can automatically add them to a webinar if that's what you do. Now, here's the best part. You can actually go for the third thing, which is register to a webinar and subscribe people to a list. So you can send people to a list, in this case, as you can see, and you can also send them to a webinar, which is pretty awesome, right? Cool. The last one is the custom integration. Now, this is, again, some of you might think, oh, you know, it's technical. It's really not. It is really not technical. Now, the API methods of moving leads is actually quite a new thing. It came about, I think, 4 or 5 years ago. Before that, if you wanted to collect leads, you had to have, you had to have a form, right? So an HTML form of some sort. So I'm going to pause the screen sharing for a second and jump into my autoresponder and show you what I mean by a form. Okay, so we have a lot of these forms already here that we've set up. So for any autoresponder, if I just click on view, let's see if it actually shows up fine. This is what a form would look like. Or let me find a better looking one. If I go here, there you go. This is what the form would look like, essentially. So what I want to do, I want to take actually this one, let's say. Yeah, okay, this is fine, I guess. So I'm going to jump in and get HTML. This is the HTML form code that I want. I'm going to copy this. I've just copied this. And I'm going to go back into InstaBuilder, and I'm going to click on Parse Raw HTML Form. I'm going to paste the form code here, process form code, done. You don't have to do anything else. So this is what you do when, for example, APIs are down, APIs are not working, you're facing issues like, oh, I'm trying to connect with constant contact, but my lead isn't going through, what's happening? Try this HTML option as a backup. I mean, I hope it doesn't come to that, but if you have stuff like, I think, Rapid Mailer or Mailit or anything that helps you collect leads, this should give you HTML form code, and this is where you can use it. So when you're done with all of that, let's just close it. Our form is ready, well, almost ready. The next thing we need to do is we need to make sure the button works, and this is critical as well. So again, I'll click on the gear icon. There's general colors, corners, formatting, again, simple things. I won't go into that. You can place icons as well if you want to. But the important things first here is general. So you can change the button label. So you can say register now, whatever you want it to do. You can have button subtext as well. So you can say limited time opportunity. You can change the font style here, and again we have Google fonts, so we can't really add more fonts because we already add quite a few. You can change font style, that's fine. Font size as well, but again, remember, you're still restricted by the width of this container. You know, just play around with it. But this is where it gets important and interesting. Action. Now, because this is a button for opt-in, you don't want to redirect to URL. You don't want to open a pop-up form. You do want to submit a form there. And the form you want to submit, see the 2 forms in here. I told you, remember the form code. Form 1 is the form that we want. Click here, save, and you're done. So basically, any lead that signs up will now get added to that autoresponder list. And if I also go here, I haven't, I think, put a thank you page anywhere. Let's see if I have. So that's the only thing that's missing, the thank you page. And let me see, where can we put that right now? Typically, it's part of the form, but because we are using custom HTML option, that won't show up, right? Because we have custom HTML option. If we go for this one, let's say InstaSuite, yeah, now we can put a thank you page URL. So if I just, let me try and guess one. Let's see if this works or not. Might not actually exist. So this is the thank you page, and I'm just going to save, and we're done with this form. Now, I just showed you this kind of, form where both fields show up. Now, if you wanted a two-step opt-in, right? Because some people would like a two-step opt-in. In that case, let me just drag and drop this button here. So you just take a button like this, and you click on this. On the actions, instead of submit form, you say open a pop-up URL. Open a pop-up, right? Create new pop-up. So this is now your two-step opt-in. So if I go in here and go into forms, there we go. So this now becomes your new pop-up. So when people, again, you still have to configure that, by the way. So if I go back in, let's edit this. You still have to configure this like you configured this one. But some people like this because this is kind of, has less objections because you're not immediately asking people for name and email address. But that's how you set up your opt-in forms for these pages. I'm going to turn back to questions. Let me know if you have any. All right. Perfect. Annette says, awesome, it shows my membership program, so I know Annette is going along pretty well. Isn't that way a bit more robust if the APIs are breaking from time to time? Oliver, definitely. Now listen, here's the thing, Oliver. As much as possible, I try and use HTML as much as possible, HTML form code, that is, because it's just much more reliable. And I've seen this people complain to ClickFunnels even, and I know it's a great platform, but people complain to ClickFunnels that 100 people signed up, but only 60 went through to my autoresponder. Why? What's broken? And it's not that something is broken, it's just that there's so many connections flying around that something might get lost in translation somewhere, right? But if you have HTML, you nearly have 100% guarantee that all the leads are going to end up in the form, in your list. So as much as possible, I recommend using the HTML option, as much as possible. Okay, in your experience, which one converts better, the full form on the page or a pop-up form? Leonardo, very, very good question. I'm going to say it depends. I'm sorry, I'm giving a very diplomatic answer, but it depends. If you set expectations beforehand that it's going to be an opt-in form, then simply putting an opt-in form is fine. But if your page is a bit more like, hey, let me tell you a story about myself, then just having a button that opening up in a pop-up is better. So it depends on how you're warming up people. Okay, with the other button, you first click on the button and then the email and name registration appears. Andreas, exactly. Actually, let me just publish this and I can show you this right now. And you can see how both of these forms act. And remember, I haven't configured the second form, so that one might not work at all. Okay, so in this case, if I click on this, there you go. This is how it opens up. And again, I can make it look better for sure. I mean, this is just very basic stuff I just did. But if I try and opt in, let's, fingers crossed, I think everything should be fine. Okay, it goes there, but remember this page doesn't exist. That's what I was saying. So, it doesn't really go anywhere. But this is a simple opt-in form. It's nothing really to it. It's quite easy. But the key thing I still want you to take away from this is how flexible this page can be. Because let's say if I don't like this at all, let's say if I don't like the 2-column thing, and I'm definitely going to delete this. What I can do is I can, if I scroll here, I can resize this, right? If I scroll here again, it can be a bit tough to find. There we go. I resize this, or I'm like, I don't like this at all. I'm just going to drag this and put it outside, if it was possible. Let's see. Let me delete this one as well. Okay. Okay, at the base, it's 2-column. But let me just try and add some text. Yeah. There you go. Well, regardless, you can still move this around and you can customize the page as much as you want. So that's what I would recommend, that, this is the kind of page builder which you need to kind of get used to it as you move forward. All right. Hey, Gianfranco, good to see you on the call. Can you please do me a favor? When you get off from work tonight, please get home safely and enjoy your weekend. Thank you. Thank you. Luckily, I am at home still, so one of the luxuries that I can work from home. But thank you very much. Regarding form HTMLs, do you create a form and use its HTML and copy it to your autoresponder? No. So actually, let me go back in and show you. And the same process would exist for your autoresponders as well if you have a different autoresponder. I mean, it even exists within InstaSuite. So whenever you set up a list, you can create a new form corresponding to that list. So I could say that it's a subscription form. Let's call this Neil test. I want the single opt-in again. I mean, I'm getting a bit technical here, but essentially you can create your forms very quickly and very easily in your autoresponder, and you can use them to collect leads anywhere else. That's what I could say. Okay, let's see a few more questions. You are speaking very fast. I apologize. Did you say HTML is better than API? Yes, it is. I'll repeat why one more time. API is, let me think of an example. Okay, Andreas, this is good. This is good. So imagine I'm trying to call you on WhatsApp, right? You might not be there when I call you, in which case the call doesn't go through, it falls. So for some reason, even though I was ready to talk to you, you weren't ready to talk to me. I can't talk to you though. That's API. HTML is more like a text message that you send. Like, hey, Andreas, I want to talk to you. Let me know when you're ready. I send you that text message, and even if you open your phone 2 days later, you get that text message still, right? That's like HTML. So the way HTML works is that it has a better connection to your autoresponder than the API does. API is easy. It was made because people were lazy. HTML is stronger. It will always be stronger because it directly goes to the core of the thing. You know, API could fail from our side, it could fail from Aweber side, but the form typically works on both ends because then we're not doing any processing. All the processing happens on, let's say, Aweber's end. So that's what I would say. Okay, cool. No problem. I hope the example was okay. Now, I want to show you a few more things on this page, and then I'll jump over to Alvin, I hope. Alvin, just message me on GoToWebinar, please. I'm not opening any other window, but just message me on GoToWebinar that you can still do the WordPress demo. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you a few more settings here. So here, if you click on the gear icon, okay, one thing, this is the mobile icon, right? So you can switch to the mobile editor, and you can see what the page would look like mobile. And as you can see, this looks quite bad, actually. This text looks quite bad. And this is, it's just messy. I mean, if you want to edit this, this is messy. Let me just delete this and see what happens. It's okay, but maybe this could be a bit more center, right? So if I go here, let me see if there's a way to make it more center. Okay. Not here. Yeah, that was working. Let's try again. Okay, that's not it. So this is basically a mobile editor, so you can play with it, you can change it, you can just see what your page will look like on mobile. If you don't like something, you can remove it, right? Let's go back to desktop version, and this is what now the desktop version looks like. So it's entirely up to you how you wish to set up your pages. Okay, then let's go into this. You have page options here. This is where you put in the page title. This is good for SEO. If someone finds you by organic search, you know, this is an important thing. So let's say the page title in this case would be, yeah, free pizza. Some description, keywords if you want. You can hide this page from search engine, again, up to you. You can change the background color, but we already have a background image, so it doesn't matter so much. You can change the page width if you wanted to. That's up to you as well, right? So if I change the width to 682, let's save this, and let's refresh this. Okay, it's still saving. Let's refresh again. There you go. It's now narrower, right? Because there's a background image, that's the full size, and this is a section we put in before. That's why it shows up like this. Let me delete that. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Now it'll be better. Then you can also add a background image, which is what we have at the moment. You can add a background video as well, and you can change the fonts on this page if you so choose. Then if I go back to this gearbox, you also have header options, so you can display a header. For opt-in page, I wouldn't recommend one. For sales page, we'll discuss it next week. You've got, or rather, yeah, next week. Then you've got the conversion tool, so you can enable pop-ups on this if you wanted to, which is pretty cool, I think. You can build your own pop-up. So if I go and say create new pop-up, just like before, you can build your own, which I think is really fun. You can also, let me go back here. You can also add an info bar on top, right on top here. But we've got this bar with logo already, so it won't show. You also can add action message, not necessary, I think. You can also have a page overlay if you so choose. Okay, so after first scroll, you can say, you can create new overlay. And again, this is kind of like if you wanted to collect leads, you know, with an overlay. Or let's say after 15 seconds when someone scrolls, you can say, hey, do you want to sign up with us? Sort of thing. You can do that as well. It's all kind of built in already here. Then if I go into script tracking code, you can retarget. You can put in retargeting code here, body script, footer scripts, different things. I mean, again, if you use it, you'll know how to use it. You can change the template that you want. I wouldn't recommend it if you put in a lot of content, because you have to redo a lot of things. You can save this page as HTML, or you can save this as template for now within your own platform, right? So within your own system, you can reuse it. In future, we will also allow basically transferring templates from one account to the other, but not as of yet. Okay. So let's save this. That's about it. If you want to undo anything, you can do so here. I can actually show you split testing as well. So if you wanted to create split test variations, you can create new variation, and you can say, okay, duplicate current variation, create variation, and then you can change some things here. And let's say when you are, okay, it'll load up. When you're done with it, this is variation B. When you're done with it, you can save it, and you're good to go. Now, if you have any questions, let me know. If not, Alvin, perhaps you want to get ready to demonstrate some part of the usage with WordPress, if that's okay. And I'll be on the questions.
Neil, can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
I can hear you.
So, all right. So let me just grab the screen from you.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Where's that? There we go. All right. So guys, give me a quick yes once you do see the dashboard right now. I should see get your special offer, then the dashboard from WordPress. Okay. All right. Perfect. Yeah. Sorry about the audio. Wow, the mic boom was up. All right. So, yeah. So there is a WordPress plugin for InstaSuite, and yeah. So for those who have not checked this out yet, all you have to do is go to the top right corner of your screen. You will see your name there. In my case, it's going to be Neil Napier, and you have a WordPress plugin API token there. All right. So on that page is you just need to copy and paste the token ID, this very long code here, and of course you can also download the plugin. You can install it as a regular plugin. All you have to do is go to plugins, click on add new, right, and upload plugin. And you're gonna have a zip file. You can upload and you can activate that one. Right. Once activated, it will show up on the left side of the menu here. And once you go there, it will ask you for the API token. Right. And of course, this is where you get that. Okay. All right. So guys, let me know if that's clear so far before we proceed to the funnels or to the pages. Okay, all right. So yeah, this is going to be something you can use for any WordPress version, right? And it doesn't matter what, if you have a theme there, if you have a e-commerce store there. It's what this does is when you create the page, it will override the layout. So what the layout what's gonna show is the page that you have created with InstaSuite. All right. So when you go to the page section here, click on Add New, and let's say, for example, we want to name this as Insta Series, for example, right? And on the bottom here, you'll also see InstaSuite landing page. So you'll just need to enable that one. All right. And all of the funnels that you have created, or all the pages that you have created with your InstaSuite account, is already linked here. Right. So let's say, for example, I want to use this one. All right. And if you go to your just dashboard, I can even show you that it's the same thing. That's what you will see under the funnel builder. There we go. InstaSuite step 1. That's the same thing that you will see on InstaSuite, and it's the same page we have here as well. You don't need to mess with any of the settings here. Just click on Publish. And if you open this up, you're going to have that opt-in page there. Now, if you do want to make this as the home page of your WordPress site, then the same thing, you can just go to Reading, the settings, Reading, and find that page that you created earlier. In our case, it's going to be Insta Series. There we go. And if I go to open up this domain name or this website, it's going to have that as a home page. All right. So guys, let me know if everything is clear, and if you have any questions, let us know as well. So you can have a blog under the same domain, under the same WordPress site. You can have an e-commerce under it as well. All right. So whatever settings you have under the WordPress site, it will not interfere with any other integrations you have there. Yep, it's easier to mapping in a way, but yeah, it depends. If some people don't have hosting, that's where the mapping, domain mapping thing comes in. If you don't have WordPress or something like that. Okay, let me see. Does InstaSuite integrate with Shopify? No, at the present, but we do have requests for it. Again, we can't promise that we might be able to integrate it, but of course, once we do have a lot of requests, we'll try to make it possible. So if you do have, let's say, feature, sorry, Neil?
No, it's okay. I mean, if I answer the question in chat, you don't need to. It's fine.
Okay.
Ellen's asking, how does the domain mapping work? Ellen, we wouldn't be able to go into that on this session. It's been extensively covered in video training, and I think even Alvin even made a PDF. So, Alvin, can we get the PDF up on the tutorial page as well? Perhaps you can link to the team and they can get it up and running there as well. That'd be great.
Sure. Yeah. I think I linked that already. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah. Okay. So I'll take note of it.
Sure. No worries. That's fine. Yeah, I think we can cover it there. Now, let me see. I create a new page in WordPress and build a new blog in InstaSuite that is shown under the WordPress page. Andreas, sorry, I don't follow your question. Could you ask again? Sorry, just ask again, please. John, does InstaSuite integrate with InstaStore? No, they're two very different products, so they don't integrate or work together with each other. The only thing they have in common is Insta, but that's it. Is it possible? Alvin, perhaps you can answer Andreas in chat, because I might have missed it. Is it possible to create form fields in InstaSuite? I have personalized books that need personal information to be collected with the customers to create personalized books. Ragini, yes, the way I showed you earlier on how to build forms, one of the methods was that you can collect specific information from customers that you want as well. Although if that doesn't work for you, you can always simply collect the lead and then on the next page, ask them to enter more information. That's entirely up to you. Okay. Gianfranco, if I have hosting with all my domains, can I use InstaSuite with WordPress using the hosting service? No. Okay, Gianfranco, so InstaSuite is software as a service. We host everything. You can use the WordPress plugin or the domain forwarding to show the content on your site, but the content still sits with us. Okay. All right. Andreas says this is really fast. That's true. It is Insta. Does InstaSuite integrate with Magento in a similar manner as WordPress? No, no, Ragini, no. We have no plans to integrate with Magento just because there isn't a big enough demand, if I'm honest with you. Okay. An acquaintance of mine has written 4 books on securing a website or blog when you use WordPress. I can get you his information if you'd like. Alexandria, I know a lot about security as well. We don't have this built on WordPress, so it's okay. I mean, we have contacts with security experts as well, and as and when necessary, we refer to them. So at the moment, thank you, but it's okay. We're all right. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's move forward now. I'm going to continue talking about, let me think, I had something in mind. I can actually move on to the content part now, and Alvin will answer all the questions for you, okay? Okay, Gianfranco is asking, would my WordPress be hosted using InstaSuite? No, 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 you host WordPress on your own website. We host InstaSuite on our end. Okay, all right, let me just switch my screen. All right, there we go. By the way, you already know that with the main offer, you have a limit of 20 funnels, and with the upgrade, you get 50 funnels per custom domain. So if you ever run out, simply delete one and you can add another one in. That's easy. Now, let's go in, and this time I want to share a few, let's say, content pieces. So when you're building opt-in pages, one of the questions that comes up often is, what kind of incentives can I offer? What should I offer? Should I offer video training, PDF training, software? Now, here's the thing. It's entirely up to you. The business that you run is really, it is up to you. What I would recommend is offer something that is tangible. By that I mean something that people could absorb in the next 5 minutes, because really we don't have a long attention span. Even I don't have a long attention span. If you notice my Chrome tab, I've got this article loaded up since 2 days ago. I haven't turned off my computer. That article is still up there. I'm going to eventually read it, but it is so long that I might not read it, right? So whatever you do, try and summarize your content in a way that it can be digested really quickly, because that's what you want. You want someone to take action quickly. When they do, they will continue to want to learn from you, to buy from you, to give you money. So let's say if you create a training video, if you make it too long, they might not absorb it immediately. If you send them to a members area, they might not watch the video immediately. I would recommend it in some cases, but not in every case. So what I quite often do is, when I set up a funnel, I would say, okay, sign up to watch 3 things you can do today to improve your hiring, for example. And then in the next video, it'll be like an 8-minute long video, but here's what happens. Again, I will show this in detail in the next session. It's more advanced stuff, but here's what happens. The first 4 minutes is like content, with me saying, okay, so there are 3 people, Steve, John, and Lisa, and this is how they hire, and these are the mistakes they were making, and this is how I work with them to fix those mistakes. So I tell them that. And then I go into the pitch for my next product that I want to sell to them. And let's say the pitch happens at the 6-minute mark. So at the 6-minute mark, the entire page loads up, the buy buttons load up. So now people can watch and buy as well. So, this kind of thing is a bit more advanced, but all I'm getting to is that you want to make sure that people who really, really like you or like your content, they stick around. So you want to make the content as easy to digest as possible. You can use PDF as well, but as I said before, people would go to PDF and maybe not read it. But if it's a checklist, yeah, sure, definitely. Audio, I wouldn't recommend it. I think video or PDF is where I draw the line. So you can give people incentives like, 21 ways to cook chicken and rice, if that's what you want. You can give people incentives and say, 3 mistakes you're probably making when you cook your chicken. I don't know, just any kind of thing, but make it more, I would say, steps based or numerical based, because people like that. People like to see a number and they say, okay, this will be good. They see 3 and they think, great, fast and easy. They see 21, they see, okay, this is 21 things to know is okay. I can probably, use that at some point. But when they see 100, 100's too much. No one will opt in if you're giving away 100 things. Limit it. All right? Then, how to transition from lead to sale quickly. Okay, this is what exactly I was just talking about. That instead of trying to sell to people later, you should try and sell them right now. I won't go into too much detail in this one because the homework that we have associated with today is about trying to get a sale after 5 emails. So, or within 5 emails. But in future, when you build this out, and I'll help you improve your funnels as you build them, you need to do this right now. When you offer something, offer it in a tangible way. Nothing that is difficult to digest, nothing that is difficult to learn. Something punchy, something tangible. Then give them an option to buy more from you immediately. Not everyone will buy. Okay? Let's say if you drive 100 people through your opt-in, maybe only 40 will watch your video, and out of that, maybe only 20% will buy from you. That's still 8 sales that you can make, and at like $50 a piece, that's $400. So try and move from lead to sale quickly. Now, I covered this earlier, but people have been asking me, should I cancel my active campaign because now I have this? As I mentioned, if you already have that, don't cancel it, because the transition to this could be tough in the beginning. Give it more time to grow. Yet at the same time, try and only add new leads here. That way you can kind of really compare the two as well and see which one's working for you best. We've been looking into Market Hero recently as well, and we'll tell you more about it next month when I've done some more testing, but that's a good one as well. Then, as much as possible, wherever possible, set up membership access with opt-in, because, as I showed you earlier, you're creating a long-term access for them. People will have the access details in their email. You can reach out to them about multiple things and not just like, hey, you opted in, but you can say, hey, what did you think of the content? Did you log into your membership site? If not, go ahead and log in again. So wherever possible, use membership sites. Now, I'll open the floor to questions. I think one thing I didn't cover, and I can actually go through it again, go through it now quickly, is thank you pages. Thank you pages should be simple enough. Let me see, where did I leave that page? Huh. Okay, I can't see it now, but let me just go in here, free iPhone case. Okay, that's the sales page. But regardless, the thank you page, follow a simple formula where you are simply giving people, you're thanking them, you're congratulating them for opting in, you're giving them what they signed up to get from you, and then maybe you're asking them to join your Facebook group, you like your fan page, maybe, I don't know, contact you for a one-on-one call, whatever it is you want to do. That's where let's say the sale happens. That's where you start warming people up, and either immediately or over time, you sell something to them. All right, so that's it in terms of the content that I wanted to share today. I hope this has been useful. Let me go back and answer some questions, but if you have any feedback, please let me know. If you want to see some integration, something that doesn't yet exist, please jump on over to the feedback portal, and it should work. I think Alvin said he had some problem with it, but it should work. Just jump on over to that and either vote up things that other people are asking, or give your own comments. It's entirely up to you, or give your own suggestions. We'll definitely take them on board. But let me go and see your questions right now. So, okay, Leandra has a very good question. It's a shame he's actually gone away now, and so is Alvin. But Leandra said, Neil, since you have a lot of experience, could you share what kind of design funnel converts better? It's a tough one, because again, it really depends. You should look at your competition. I always keep a list of all the HTMLs that my competition's using, and I try and recreate something in that light. It's easy to start with that than starting from scratch. So that's what I would recommend you do as well. Although I would say that start with something very, very simple. You don't want to make the page really crowded. Start with just a headline, subheadline, opt-in box, buy, subscription button, thank you, that's it. Start with that and gradually improve it. That's what I would say. Okay. Yes, great tip, says Annette, about the list. Perfect. Neil, we already have a service we have been running for 9 years. Now we are in the need of PLR products as filler, basically out of good quality. Would you have any suggestions? Jimmy, no. I personally haven't dealt too much with PLR. Although what I could recommend, and this is a cool trick, by the way, I didn't think about this, and I think Alvin knows this as well. So maybe if I stumble, Alvin can help. But jump on over to YouTube. And when you are searching, you can find stuff with Creative Commons. So let me think about, let's say SEO. Right? If I go into SEO, I can filter results here. I can say, let's look for content, Creative Commons. There we go. This is content with Creative Commons. So, which means that you can use it on your thank you pages if you want to. It's up to you. Right? So again, I mean, make sure that you have rights and everything as much as possible. But the point is that if you go for Creative Commons, you can really get some of the pre-done content from different places. But I don't know enough about PLR, unfortunately. Can I add SSL when hosted with InstaSuite? Saeed, we already have SSL on our end. Let me just go back here. All the links have SSL, but if you mean on your own website, yes, I guess so, you can do that. Yeah. Ragini, great, good to have you on the call. Annette, no problem. Yeah. Great content and good tips. Kudos to Neil, Alvin, and the team. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. Awesome, Neil. Great session as always. PSI connected right now with Richard Waterbury. Okay, Holger, that's perfect. No problem, man. Great info. Are there other 2 webinars and tutorials? Yes, they are. Already, this one will be there in 24 hours or so. Do we have to use WordPress with this, or is it a big advantage? You don't have to. It's an option, but you really don't have to. Okay. Lisa, Lisa, you should have, you need to register first on Feedback Portal. So if you haven't registered already, you need to register first, and only then you can log in. The logins of that are different from InstaSuite. Okay. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay, cool. Thank you, everyone. Then I will get this uploaded, and really good to see you on the call. And I'm looking forward to the next sessions where we'll talk about, in this case, the sales pages, which really is where you start making some money. But till then, please jump on over to Facebook. Okay, I need you to do me this favor. I'm just going to go to Facebook group, and I'm going to type up just a quick question. What did you think of Funnel Builder 1? Just leave a comment there, okay? I'd just like to know, get some feedback. What did you think of it? Did you like it? If you didn't like it, it's okay, but it would be good to know anyway. So just jump on over here, and if you can, please leave some feedback for me quickly. And also, I already gave our homework. If you have time, I would really love to see some of you taking action and setting some stuff up with me, and I'll review that with you. So the homework is already linked on InstaSuite. Let me grab a link for that as well. There we go. This is the homework. Perfect. All right. So work with me. I'll help you get results. Nothing to buy basically today. Just enjoy the session again if you watch it in replay, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.